The Baker's Man Collective presents.
What do you think separates your brand from leading competitors? For me, that's an interesting question because when you're a production company or when you're a media company, like what are you competing for at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, no, great question. Well, I think you're competing like on production side, I guess we'll start with. You're competing for clients, which I've talked to like people like the Wicked Mortars. There's another company called Conquer Media. There's a couple other ones. They're like really big and they all compete for clients, and I get that, and that's the market, right? And I'm not necessarily eventually I think, yeah, we'll be competing, but like I'm more look to like work with people, production side's competition. And I think there are other ways to stand out and not necessarily need to really go so hard on the competition. And I also think too, like on the production side, there's definitely money in it. And I'm not saying I'm just here for the money, but like I like more of the creating my own media side, because I think that is much more collaborative, less competition, more so in a way, if that makes sense. So the media side,
control of who you work with, and you're not doing it for the price or whatever. It's literally from you,
Yeah, and I
it's
think
the value
like
you see in it.
Yeah, absolutely. And the education side and like the media side, I think is really important, because that's a missing thing. But it's also like, now you're competing for viewership, but not even really, like, because there's other YouTube cannabis education companies that I work with. I think collaboration is key, and I think that I find that more on the media side of it than I find on the production side of it. I feel like it's a lot more cutthroat on like the production side of it.
That's true. That totally makes sense, and it's a good answer because like I don't ever feel like I'm competing. The only person I'm competing with is myself. I'm trying to get the message out there, and if I see a like-minded individual that is pushing a similar message, all right, let's work together. And that's the perks about cannabis, is that right now we can do that and affect change because it's in its infancy. We can do that and actually maybe hopefully heal this terrible system that we have created with other industries that started with entrepreneurship and then went ugly, like big media, like music, you know what I mean? All those places that went
real ugly.
If more like-minded people got together, push it in the right direction and help the cannabis industry not make that drastic left turn to, man, do we even really want to be a part of this anymore?
Yeah, I think you can take that lane, like exactly what you're saying, which was very well said. It is from the media lane.
Media ruined it in the first place.
Media ruined it in the first place in a lot of ways. And like you said, the mainstream media is just out of control nowadays. Like they're hell-bent on like controlling population, controlling ideologies, because there's so much connected to it now. And it's just like no one trusts mainstream media now, like regardless of your ideology. I'm pretty far left, and not to get political here, but I don't really trust very much mainstream media at all, regardless of it being right or left media.
Honestly, I just listen to all three to get a perspective, and I make my own decision.
That's the way you should do it, in my opinion. The best way is to be educating yourself and really understand all sides, because one side, they're just going to have you hating everyone else, not understanding them,
And more importantly for me, like I was in a psychedelic webinar yesterday for a bit, and the guy that was talking was like, I listen to Fox News and then I listen to CNN, and then I'm like, who's right? So then I turn on BBC to figure out actually what the hell is going on, because he's in Switzerland or somewhere like that now. And I was like, that's exactly it. Because if you're in America, you're like in a bubble of almost stupidity, and you're bounced around, and they keep you on the edge of your seat. So like, what is happening? And then the rest of the world is like, they're a bunch of idiots. And here's why. What are we going to do? They have a ton of power.